Can I say something in a non-condescending way?
Yeah.
You remind me of a young me.
That's not what I want to hear.
Brunch. Hit it, boys. You ever act like you're up to something?
Act like I'm up to something? I don't have to act because I'm usually up to something.
That's true. But like, are you ever not up to something and maybe act a little like a little mischievous, a little suspicious?
Is that like when your life gets boring and you just want to pretend that you're doing something exciting?
That's probably the root of it if you want to trace it all the way back. Yeah.
Why? What have you been pretending to be up to these days?
It was just a one-time thing, but it was like... It was an example of something I do actually kind of often, and I caught myself doing it. I had to make a photocopy of my driver's license. So I went to Staples, made a photocopy of my driver's license. Left, ran around, did some more errands, blah, blah. Realized, shoot, I must have left my driver's license at Staples. So I went to Staples, and I went to the photocopy area. There's no one in sight. Driver's license is gone. So I go to the cashier, and I'm like, hey, I think I left my driver's license here earlier. I was making a photocopy of it. And he's like, hey, you see a driver's license? And this guy's like, yeah, I saw it in the photocopier earlier. I'll go get it now. And I did the whole, oh, my God, you guys, you are really bailing me out here. This is, man, you're saving me a lot of trouble. Thank God. I was going to go crazy if I had to get it. I had to go order another driver's license. And they gave it to me. And then I walked out and I was doing oh, man, thank you. Oh, boy, you guys are lifesavers. And then as soon as like my back was to them, I did like my face just like went away. You know?
That story sucks.
Like, no, like as though I had like tricked them, as in like that wasn't my driver's license at all.
So stupid. You're such a fucking idiot.
I love doing little shit like that, and that's only entertaining for me. Like if somebody else was walking in as I was doing it, they'd be like, "Did you just steal the driver?" Yeah, like, you just I don't know, but I was just wondering if anybody else does that. I guess I'm only asking one person, and you're boring, so you probably aren't.
Probably not
enough to do something.
You want to know like a cool thing that's happened to me lately?
What?
And it's all because of you, kind of, I think. I've become somewhat of like an ambassador for people with bad skin.
Really?
Yeah, like we talked about it just before we got on this on this podcast. There was like a thing going around about this girl who is like standing up to her cystic acne and kind of being like, whatever, I don't need to hide it. I'm just going to embrace who I am. I'm beautiful and like good for her. But like people send me that story. Like brunch listeners,
really?
Yeah, because we talked about it on the past, and you've like said like you're like you always bring up your bad skin,
right? That's true. You're a survivor.
You're right. So people have sent me that, and it's kind of cool.
That is cool. That's like a fun little thing to share. Were you a confident acne haver?
Absolutely not.
Because I will say, as a total non-acne person, never had it.
Like I've canceled dates. From like because I had a breakout.
I've had dates canceled on me because
your face looks like it does normally.
With me. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, it's with you."
I was like the least confident acne haver in the world.
Because I'll say acne was never like a turnoff or anything like that for me as a non-acne person, and I just always wondered how people fucking dealt with it, if it like would really get in their heads, because like the smallest fucking other thing for me would get in my head. If I had like I used to have like a tiny little like black spot on my nose. It was fucking microscopic. And the first time I always noticed it, and I was always like, this is fucking disgusting. Who could love me? And the first time somebody noticed it, it was one of my friends who'd known me for like 7 years, and she was like, I never noticed you have a tiny little thing on your nose. And then I got it removed like right after.
Jesus
like
Christ.
That's it. This has held me back for way too fucking long. So yeah, like props to people who were just like, yeah, fuck this. I got this.
Yeah, she's like a 17-year-old
worse.
girl or something like that, and she's like, nah, fuck it. Like I was like a 23, 24-year-old somewhat mini man, and I was like, well, I'm not going out in public when I have fucking 3 pimples. Fuck this.
Yeah, it was weird. Like this is gonna sound so like backhand or whatever, but like I would find people who had fucking acne and clearly didn't give a fuck about it. And not in like they're not worried about it, not they don't care about it.
They just don't let it like prohibit them from doing anything.
Like they still have fucking like swagger and everything, as they fucking should, because I know that I fucking wouldn't. If my elbow's itchy for a day, I fucking lock myself up for a month.
But it's kind of cool because now I tweeted that story and I was like, good for this girl because she fucking has way more balls than I did when I had acne.
Yeah.
And now like people are like in my mentions and stuff talking about acne, and it's cool.
It's always interesting, especially now that 280 characters exist. I read your tweet, and it's always fun reading a positive tweet from you because there's so many there's so much space. there's so much space for it to become the joke. And when it never does, you finish, you're like, oh, that was nice, I guess. But like, it was weird. Like, I wanted you to, in that moment, I was disappointed that you weren't mean to kids with acne.
That's fucked. I would never do that.
Yeah, but good for those people.
We're a few days removed from our last episode. We skipped Monday, by the way, out of respect for Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, so...
we're not racist.
Yes. How did you like the crossover episode?
The crossover episode worked way better than I thought it would, to be honest with you.
It worked way longer than I thought it would.
Not in the final product.
They got it down to like...
Jeff edited it in like the right after it happened. We recorded like a 3-hour podcast. He spent God knows however much time editing it.
Yeah.
Cut like out an hour and didn't lose really anything.
Yeah.
So fucking unbelievable job by Jeff, who has been a goddamn saint in this process. Like he's made the promos and stuff like that, done the graphics. I thought it was great. I mean, I had a little hesitation going into it with it being 5 voices and you know, you're a dominant voice. Who
sure am, cowboy.
Sure loves to talk and command conversation.
I would say my voice is... can always be used.
Yes,
that's the way that
by you
put it.
So I thought that it worked really, really well. I think that the best possible feedback that you can get on something like that is that a few people said I've never seen these movies. I've only seen like 2 of these movies, and I was still entertained throughout the entire thing. So that was really cool.
Well, yeah, that's just us. No one ever knows the fuck we're talking about. Do you think that anybody knows what we're talking about when we talk about stuff on Brunch? That's what makes us so good. We can talk about anything and it's listenable to people. Don't ask me how we fucking do it. We're just fucking good like that.
How do you feel about the future prospects of doing another crossover episode with them or anybody else?
We just fucking did it. Relax. Give me like
I know. Yeah. That's been a thing that's happened in the days since is that
I just got fucking married and you're asking when we're having a kid.
Right. No, there's been a lot of people asking us like, hey, you should do a crossover episode with this person or this podcast or whatever.
Since when do we listen to people on Twitter?
We did one. We knocked it out. Let us have our honeymoon stage of just us fucking each other again for a while.
Yeah. Another thing that we're getting a lot of. So the Killers are touring, and now every time anyone goes to a Killers concert, they take a picture of Brandon Flowers and send it to us. That is the shit that I like because it only happens like once or twice a day.
And it's always the exact same tweet. It's like, hey, you think Brandon Flowers is going to suck his dick tonight?
Think he's going to suck his own dick? And every time I'm like, yeah, maybe. Who knows? Pretty excited. Boston folks, I don't know. I didn't go to that show. I don't know if he sucked his own you-know-what. Speaking of concerts... Again, Moo evades me. Always. I've bought tickets to Moo concerts probably more than I bought tickets to any other concerts, and I've only seen her like 3 or 4 times.
Did you buy tickets to this show?
Yes.
What's happening? That you can't go?
The AFC
Patriots.
Championship, and then...
Well, then you're an idiot if
I'm
you
just going to watch the... No, I knew, but I was like, who knows? Maybe I won't care about the NFC Championship. Because the Patriots are the first game,
right?
And I kind of want to watch the NFC Championship.
Overseeing Moo?
Yeah,
that's stupid. You're wrong.
It's because it'd be a whole thing. I'd have to like bring a change of clothes to work, and I'd have to drive there, and then I wouldn't drink, and it would just be a fucking thing.
You're an idiot. It's the Vikings are going to win, and then they're going to lose in the Super Bowl, and it's like the cockiest thing in the world, but. the fact that as a Patriots fan, like every year, I just like look to see if there's like something that's happening around the date of the AFC Championship and or Super Bowl. I like block those days off, being like, I'm not going to be able to do anything. The Patriots are going to be in the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So that happened again this year. So
I kind of want to watch I kind of want the Eagles to win. Actually,
I mean, I wouldn't hate the Eagles winning, but they're not going to win. The Vikings are going to win.
I don't know. Neither of those teams are that good.
The Vikings' defense is nasty.
Yeah. And Stephon Diggs, most hilarious shit in the world. What a fucking play! I hate the fuck when people are like, "Oh man, I feel bad for people who don't enjoy sports." Why? They fucking enjoy something else. Like they don't like fucking die. It's not like when we're watching sports, they're like.
I do often wonder,
staring at a refrigerator.
I do often wonder, like, sports consumes so much of my life that I'm like, what do other people do? Like, what do people do at this time? Like what do people do on weekday nights? Because every weekday night I watch sports. I watch hockey or I watch basketball, like, or I go to the movies. But like, do people just go home and like binge watch TV every?
Oh,
night?
that used to depress me a lot. Like when I first got out of college, a lot of my friends who had 9-to-5s and everything, and I had an exciting job, and I was still like. I was still always looking to do more, looking to find more fun shit to do. And my friends with 9-to-5s who had just get up, go to work. This is going to depress so many of our listeners. I'm sorry. Who would just get up, go to work, like come home, have dinner, watch TV for a little, and then go to sleep. I was like, oh my God, that seems fucking horrible.
Yeah, it does.
Like you go. Walk to a bar or something. That's depressing too, but
I feel like
anything, mix it up.
The best thing that sports fans have for them is like a schedule of things to plan for after their 9-to-5 or something like that. Like if you're a sports fan, you can say, okay, the Bruins are playing tonight at 7. The Celtics are playing tonight at 7:30. Like you have that to look forward to during your 9-to-5, and you like know that you're going to be busy and like making plans around that thing. But like if you're not a sports fan and you just don't give a shit at all, you're just like, oh, I'll just go home and watch TV, or I'll just go home and play video games for like 4 hours. To each their own, but I like the aspect of having something to plan around.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I have it the best. I love sports and I love doing fun shit. So there's never like there's a lot of times I choose to do nothing. That's called #depression. But like, if I want to do something, I can fucking find something. And people who like, and I always think like people who aren't really into music, people who don't like seeing live music, I think the same way that the hardcore sports fans are like, oh man, well, I feel bad that you don't like sports. The people who are sports fans have like a sinus issue. But yeah, I used to be like, fuck, like, who doesn't like going to concerts? Who doesn't like live music? Then what the fuck do you do? And that's the other thing. Sports and those are like the two things. I'm into both. I'm kind of a catch.
Sure, man, if you have to sell yourself.
I don't.
I do. I think that the sports angle, like it sucks if you're not a sports fan. It is tough to duplicate like the shit that happened in the Vikings Saints game. Like, how are you going to find that in like its purest form and elsewhere? Like, you'd have to have like a crazy ass fucking movie or TV thing, like if that's your scene, like you'd have to have something fucking absolutely that blows your mind, and it doesn't happen as often as it happens in sports. And also, it's like you don't share it the same way that you don't share that moment in a movie the way that you share the like sports thing. There's not like that you remember where you were when it happened. There wasn't the like, oh, my friend said this was going to happen, because if your friend said anything during the fucking movie, then that's no friend of mine, pal. So, yeah, I guess, I think we sold sports a little short. Sports are fucking awesome. I've scaled back my sportsness in the past year or so with like the new job. I've scaled it up, which is weird. You scaled it up on like the basketball end. Like I'm kind of taking it more from like I'm taking like a step back and then being like a more casual sports fan. Can I say something in a non-condescending way? Yeah. You remind me of a young me. That's not what I want to hear.
No, like you're like me when brunch first started, and better because if
I'm
it was
me.
me, yeah. But like sports is your thing, but you're like really getting into other shit.
Yeah.
You're spreading your fucking wings.
I hope I'm less annoying on Twitter than you were when you got like when you spread your wings on Twitter. It's like a fucking wild time.
When is this present tense or past tense? Spread.
It's still ongoing, I would say.
But you don't understand. I know that.
But you enjoy the,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
I could easily not do that.
Right.
But
you enjoy it.
It's
just very.
You're the Mall of America on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm the fucking what's the record store in California where people fucking fly thousands of miles to go to this one record store that there's only one of.
I don't know.
It's not as big. It's not as some people might say it's not as good. Some wrong people might say it's not as good. But for a specific thing you can't get anywhere else, stop by old fucking DJ_Bean. We'll treat you right.
Good for you. One thing that we haven't talked about yet on the show, which is kind of wild, Lena Waithe's new show, The Chi.
Yeah.
2 episodes in
Yeah.
on Showtime. We have talked about it, actually. We've talked about how you watched it, and I didn't.
Yes, and now we've both
watched it. There was no new episode this
I know,
week,
I
and I
was
was
kinda
very
bummed.
upset about that.
I had it in my head that we were going to talk about the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
Today.
But I watched the first 2 episodes, and the first one.
Yeah, the
Wow.
first one's just an all-timer.
And I mean, you told me that it was like a really great premiere, and I thought you were maybe blowing a little smoke.
I don't do it.
Pandering a little bit.
Pandering.
But no, the first episode of that show is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And does a really, really great job of setting up characters that you care about. And I am very, very interested in the show moving forward.
Yeah, if you liked every season of The Wire, you're going to like this because it's Southside Chicago, but at every level. It's like where The Wire was like.
I hate to compare it to The Wire.
I know, and everyone's going to fucking do it.
compare it to The Wire.
Everyone's going to do
it's
it.
just like,
Yeah.
Oh, you can't make a show
And it's-
without fucking comparing it to The
Right.
Wire. But it does have like a lot of Wire aspect to it.
But it's whereas The Wire would have seasons that focused on adults, teenagers, or kids. Kids were always in some way involved in The Wire, but it was really obviously the final 2 seasons that were really hardcore on the kids. But this is like right from the gate, you're completely invested in the elementary, middle school storyline, the teenagers having kids storyline, the young adult with a promising future who's put in an impossible situation storyline, and the adult storyline. It's but it doesn't feel like too much, you know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all. And I mean, through the first 2 episodes, the thing that I like most about it, and again, I hate to compare it to The Wire, but this is something that The Wire did super, super well. It's
Was
like
put Kima in the show.
Yes, yeah, Kima is actually in this one. But I hate Lena for making me hate Kima because her character kind of sucks in this.
Oh no!
Well, like she's very
acting
nasty.
Like an asshole.
Yes, yeah.
But
like, you can understand the anger a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say one thing that The Wire did really, really well is like humanize there are criminals in The Wire. And like they're drug dealers and stuff, but they humanize them, and they're like they make you understand how they got to that point,
right?
And obviously, in the South Side of Chicago, there's like a shitload of gun violence, and it's a tough place to live. And in this scene, this series starts off with a murder,
right?
And like the show does a really good job of showing like how you get to that point, and like it humanizes the people that are involved from all angles,
right?
And does a really good job of storytelling and providing like layers to that, just so that you're not just like, oh, South Side of Chicago, there's a criminal, right. There's a criminal. It shows how you get to that point in an environment like that.
Right. They've set up already 3 different people who at the beginning of an episode you wouldn't expect that they might commit murder. one of them already has. Two of them haven't yet, but a situation could arise in which they do, even though they're established as certainly Jason Mitchell's case. The other one I'm referring to is the kid who's just probably scared.
Yeah.
Who's getting followed now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason Mitchell is going to knock this out of the park. If you haven't watched the show yet, again, I've said this on Twitter, you're not going to know what the fuck we're talking about because that's going to be the home base show for this podcast while it's on. You know, like when the night of was on, we would always circle back to the night of. When Crashing's on, we always circle back to Crashing, and that's back. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, this is going to be one of those home base shows. We'll have Lena on to talk about it. But fuck, man, I think we're getting to the point. And we still text Lena. She still texts us. She's the fucking best. But
she is quickly becoming a fucking way too fucking big for us. But not saying like it's getting there. It's already there.
Like
she's fucking huge.
I see Lena Waithe mentioned in my timeline all the time by people who are not you, me, or Lena Waithe. It used to be like Lena would retweet a story someone wrote about her. So like I'd always see stuff about Lena, and that's how I'd get like my Lena fix. But now you're watching like fucking talk shows, and people are talking like people will just like rattle off Lena Waithe's name. Mm-hmm. She is, I mean, to say an up and comer is dumb because she's like
doing
well
her a disservice.
But she is. She's like that hot shit. She's who everyone wants to work with, and for good reason. The last shot of the second episode of The Chi was fucking amazing. You know what I'm talking about? When he gets the news, and then he walks across the street.
No, I don't know if I remember.
The cop tells the murderer that he murdered someone who maybe he shouldn't have murdered. And he drops his stuff,
so good.
Walks across the street, and he's walking like kind of parallel to the crosswalk, so you can see the straight line that he should be walking, and he's just going like 49 degrees.
And the shit that always fucking gets me with things like that, and when he was carrying groceries, and like had like a big night ahead of him, it always devastates me when I see like somebody buy something that they went and they got and they were excited about it, and then they get like a news broken to them and they just like immediately drop it, or like throw it away or something like that. It always kind of just fucking like devastates me when I see material things destroyed because of somebody's like mental state.
That's I don't know.
It's
if
a
that's
weird
a good
thing.
or
No,
a bad
I think it's a bad thing, but like it really gets to me.
I'm more worried about the person.
No, but like it shows how like they're not thinking about that shit. Like that means nothing to them.
Yeah, that is true. Like one thing can make something material just not fucking matter.
Right. One thing that I texted you when I was watching the show is Jason Mitchell's character is a chef, and they have great scenes through the first two episodes of him preparing food.
Oh yeah.
And there is like I'm not a big person who watches like the Food Channel or anything like that, but when there is
food always looks good. Let's get one thing out in the open. Food always looks fucking amazing on camera.
Yeah.
Even in cartoons. You ever see a cartoon person eating like a drumstick? Holy smokes.
But like anytime I see food being prepared on TV, and like especially in a very aesthetically pleasing sort of way.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the most fucking relaxing thing in the world. It's so awesome.
The Chi is overhead slice porn. A lot of overhead shots of Jason Mitchell doing the thing. You put the knife down, hit at the bottom, give it that clean slice.
Yeah. There's something so relaxing about that. Like, I love the movie Chef. We talked about that.
If you haven't seen that movie, then
that movie's fantastic. That's a lot of food porn. I also love like the Phantom Gourmet.
Yeah,
just watching that shit on like the weekend afternoons or weekend mornings.
That's all fake, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I think that's generally been discussed as like this show's kind of bullshit,
right?
But I mean, it's still fucking amazing
but
to
still,
watch food
like,
being prepared.
This burger with gobs of fries, and you're like, oh fuck, I want gobs of fries, right. And it's just like French fries, but
it's something so soothing.
That
about
must
it.
be a cool. You notice every like food TV show, the host does the voiceovers as well. That kind of make you kind of have to do everything yourself.
What?
It's like, I went to this place to try the sandwich. And he's eating the sandwich, talking to the guy who makes the sandwich. And like, as he's biting into it, it's a voiceover of himself being like, the sandwich felt good in my mouth.
Yeah, that is like a weird dynamic. It's like, here's me eating the sandwich.
Like, how do you, like, I imagine you're watching, they're playing you that video back as you're doing like the,
yeah,
like,
but I guess
the cheese.
But I get, like, would you trust another guy to narrate you eating a sandwich?
That's true. They could be a little judgmental.
Like, how the fuck does that guy know?
Yeah, that's true.
He's not eating the sandwich.
Looks like he loves the sandwich.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't eat it.
Hey, save some for me.
We should do that. We should do brunch videos where one of us eats the sandwich, and then the other one tries to like do a voiceover and describe the situation.
Yeah. Seems Pete's loving the fries.
And I just turned to the camera. I'm not. They're mediocre.
Right. And then wait, I think you might have to be muted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like you can do nonverbal cues.
Or just give like a thumbs up.
So just be like, like maybe wave your hands a little bit. Be like, no, I don't. No. It seems that Pete
is not loving.
Wants some more fry. Eating the fry. Putting down the. What are you doing?
That's a good idea.
We'll
store that one in the bank.
Idea. Yeah.
You mentioned Crashing. That's back this week.
Yeah, and it was great.
I thought it was
and
good.
I thought that the first season of Crashing was so overrated. I liked it a lot, but I thought it was so...
That surprises me because you've been like harping on Crashing coming back for longer than I was.
Very excited that it was coming back, and it's back and it's good, but out that season 1 had like a lot of bad episodes. It had like 2 or 3 fucking lame episodes.
Well, I think that it kind of struggled pushing through the his wife storyline.
Yeah.
Because they had to keep going back to that, and I think they spent too much time on it, and like the fucking... I had enough with the religion stuff. I know that was a huge part of his life or whatever. That was a huge part of this premiere too, was like transitioning Pete from like still goody two shoes religious Pete into kind of just having his mind blown in regards to religion and ushering in a new segment of his life, I think. And I think that's what I was most excited about with the premiere, was that we're getting to Pete being more of like a open lifestyle comedian. So
an amendment that needs to be made to the great speaking voices discussion, Penn of Penn and Teller fame. I forgot what a set of pipes on that guy.
And also just like the way that he presents himself and the way that he speaks, like that guy could be bullshitting you to the high heavens.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sakes, he's a magician, so he probably is most of the time. He could be bullshitting you to the high heavens.
What does it say about you that you're a fucking magician?
And what does it say about... But honestly, like, what does it say about Penn that he's a magician and everybody kind of loves him? Like,
yeah.
I feel like everybody is kind of bred to not trust and kind of hate magicians.
Yeah.
And everybody loves that guy. So that just speaks to how well that he presents himself and how well he speaks.
I think that I'm going to become a magician. You only need to do like 2 fucking tricks to be a magician. You need to be able to do a trick that's not with cards, and then you're a magician.
I don't think that you would be able to be a magician because you'd be like halfway through a trick and you'd be like, you know what? You guys are all just fucking idiots. You know what? This is what I'm doing. And you'd reveal the tricks behind it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it because I wouldn't want to put myself in the position where I'd be like, these fucking idiots.
Right. I feel like you don't want to deceive people.
Oh, so you're saying it is a nice thing. Okay. I sensed a little like sassiness from you.
Well, I feel like you would be sassy about it, but like I think inherently you don't want to deceive people.
I want people to be smarter, so that's why I tell you all these correct
you'd be like,
things.
you fucking idiots! Here's what I'm doing. Stop being so stupid.
I gotcha. I much appreciated Pete Holmes, and I don't think he's that great a comedian, but I much appreciated Pete Holmes' bit about...
don't think he's that interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and
his
people love him.
I know, and his story is interesting. Like, just the fact that he was so fucking religious and somehow...
Is that
succeeded
true?
in this world? Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was like a missionary.
Oh,
he went to
really?
college to like be like a whether it was like a priest or something like that. But he was highly religious, and like he married young, to the first person that he ever had sex with, and then divorced. So like this is basically like his biography.
Had no clue,
and she cheated on him. So.
That stinks. But his bit
doesn't really
about
though, because his career took off afterwards.
That's true. Yeah, you know, Phil Collins will tell you too. Getting cheated on isn't the worst thing in the world. A lot of good songs off that. But his bit about gullible people. I thought that was a great bit. I was like, if I'm a comedian, that's the kind of bit I'd like to have. That's a joke I'd like to tell.
I think that was like the first actually funny stand-up bit that he's had in the series so far.
I mean, in this series, yeah, definitely,
right,
yeah,
in the series.
Have you seen his most recent stand-up?
No,
everyone loves it. Did you see? Did we talk about the Chappelle's stand-ups?
We talked about it, I think, off air, but not.
Those were really good. Those were better than the other two.
I thought the first one was really good. I didn't get through the second one, which was like the more intimate. Did you get to
the Michael Jackson part in the second one?
I don't think so.
I can't repeat it because he uses one of my bottom 3 favorite words. It's a hard F.
Ooh.
But he's talking about.
What are your other 2?
Well, I mean,
say the N-word's probably in there.
Yeah, like the N-word and the F-word are like the 2
the hard F-word.
Never say that word near me kind of words.
Yes. The hard. Yeah, I think both of those are like in the same category. Like, obviously, one has to come from a white person for me to be like, "Ooh, get away from me."
Yeah.
But like hard Fs for sure, are just like
those are like the 2. There's no place for that word. But he's talking about if he's like, what if Michael Jackson actually was really well intentioned, and that he just wanted to hang out with these kids and show them a good time, and they're like, "Oh, are you trying to sleep with us?" And he'd be like, "Oh, you," like it's like, "Oh, you bleep ass kids," and like, it was just a funny perspective that like Michael Jackson's this homophobic guy who's like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here, you pervs," to children. So yeah,
love making fun of kids.
Yeah, that's really it. Those jokes are always good. High Maintenance is coming back too.
I'm excited for High Maintenance, which, like, I forget that it exists all the time, but then when I'm reminded that it exists, I'm like, I love that show.
High Maintenance is what got me into Wolfpack.
Really?
It's what made me get into Wolfpack. One of my friends had been telling me about Wolfpack forever, and I was doing I checked them out. I love them. They're great. Cool. Stop fucking talking to me about Wolfpack. And then during the credits of one episode, there's a song, and I was like, what the fuck is this song? This is the best song I've ever heard. And it was Outro by Wolfpack. And that's just a fucking classic song. And then I checked out Wolfpack, and now I love them. If you guys don't like Wolfpack, you got to check them out. They're so good. Speaking of dead people, Dolores died. Cranberries, so good. And everybody likes the Cranberries.
Did not expect to be distraught about the Cranberries in 2018
I got
when I woke
teary-eyed
up this
today.
morning.
I'm not a teary-eyed kind of guy, and I put on I Still Do, and when her voice came in, I just got emotional.
It really was like kind of like a weird reflection kind of moment where it's like, I don't fucking love the Cranberries. Like, I rarely think about the Cranberries. I'm never like, I need to hear some Cranberries right now. I probably know like a handful of songs by the Cranberries, but you know what? I love every single one of them. And like, it's just like weird when you have that moment where you're like, did I really love them? But like, why am I so sad?
Right. They're just one. I'm trying to think of other ones. Chris Cornell, obviously, but they're one of the bands that like dates my life. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, the Cranberries were just a part of our fucking childhood. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, those songs were always around. Whenever I sounds like a weird thing to say on the day that she died, but with the Cranberries, I just always fucking loved their drums. And whenever I hear that sound, it's like, I won't get nerdy about it, but just like, whenever I hear their drum sound, and it's so immediately identifiable, and a lot of people, Jack Antonoff, I can tell you, big fucking Cranberries fan when you listen to the songs that he produces. Like, I don't know, it just fucking takes me to the fucking mid-90s when that music and also a lot of not so good music was coming out. Man, And sure, her voice was fucking great. I tweeted this today. Whenever someone's like, "Oh, she had such a unique gift, such an instrument," blah blah. Like, her voice actually was a fucking instrument.
Yeah,
it was like a fucking flute. It was like a guitar. She could do anything.
I thought you were gonna. I was gonna be pissed because I thought you were going with like you were gonna be like, "Oh, shut the fuck up," when I hear people say that. But like, she is one of the few cases. Of that. Yes. She is one of the few cases where you're like, that voice is legitimately like a tool.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, there are like 5 Cranberry songs I knew them and loved them. I think we actually had this conversation on the podcast like a year or two ago, where it was like we discussed bands that didn't have a lot of hits, but you wish that they had more because you loved.
Yes, I remember this. We
did.
had to have mentioned them.
I said that the Cranberries. I think that the 2 ones that I highlighted were the Cranberries and the Counting Crows.
Yes, and did we have a debate about Counting Crows?
Maybe
as to like whether or not they qualified.
Yeah, we might have.
Because they had like
they're like borderline because
they're for sure
they were huge.
They for sure they could do a greatest hits double album if they wanted to. It would be a stretch.
It would be August and Everything After, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, and Accidentally in Love.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on. No, they were like. They were like a 2 songs an album kind of band.
Yeah, like a 2-song heater.
Yeah,
sort of. I think they have enough to disclassify or declassify them from the conversation. But
yeah,
the Cranberries, I think for sure.
But like Fastball has a greatest hits album, and people only know 2 songs by them. They should know 3. Man, You're an Ocean, what a fucking song. I went back recently and I looked up. I don't know how I came across it, but it was an article in like a Texas newspaper that was like, what the fuck happened to Fastball? Like, they're this local band. The Way became a huge hit. All the Pain Money Can Buy became this big selling album, went platinum, all this shit. #1 on the charts. So to follow it up, they were like, all right, now let's make some real fucking good music. And they got Billy Preston and made a fucking song with Billy Preston. And everyone was like, nah. Or like, seemingly they did what musicians should do. Be like, all right, now that we have the money to like do some really cool shit, let's do the cool shit. And everyone's like, hey, we liked the weak shit. Please just give us more of that.
I mean, I feel like that happens a lot where it's like a band like gets famous off of like
that
kind
they
of like
necessarily expecting.
Yeah, well, not that,
because like I don't think the Way couldn't have been like formulated to be
like this is gonna be a
hit.
smash.
I'd be very surprised if I were to look that up on Wikipedia and find that they were like co-writers, you know.
But that like the way that it happened to them is more confusing to me than like the way that it happens to other people. Like we've always talked about like Ed Sheeran makes like hits that are designed to be hits.
Yeah.
But like he is way more musically talented than he leads on, and like it may not
John
translate
Mayer too.
Right, and it like may not translate to top 40 stuff.
Yeah,
but like Ed Sheeran should be making better music than he is right now because he's bought himself the freedom.
Situation. Because John Mayer can make music that he thinks is good, and it's incumbent on us to fucking trust him and buy it.
Right, and like to go out of our way to check it out.
Right.
But like people do that because it's John Mayer and he has the name appeal that he built off of top 40 hits. Like Ed Sheeran is to the point now where like we would seek out Ed Sheeran's music if we found out that he was like releasing shit. And even if it doesn't translate to top 40, like he should be making way better music.
You know who might do it kind of the best? This is weird because this is a person who does not seem to totally have their act together. Father John Misty. He makes his own music, the weird, depressed shit that he wants to make it. And then if he needs fucking checks, he'll go co-write a Beyonce song or like a Lady Gaga song or something like that. And then he'll make like 20 other songs that just mock people. And like I would say that like a pie chart of Father John Misty is like 1/3 him making music that genuinely makes himself feel whole. Then like a little sliver of making music that'll make him a lot of money and buy him houses. And the rest of it is just being an asshole to people.
Yeah, I mean, I just like always find it like really interesting to follow like the track of musicians and how like their like careers progress. Like another one that's super interesting to me is fucking Maroon 5, who got crazy popular.
Yeah.
And like could have kept making awesome music.
Totally.
But and I don't even want to. I don't even want
elite albums.
I don't even want to say that they sold out because like
I think people just aren't prepared for what comes next because I'm sure that they spent years grinding and trying to make it big. And then,
but they did make it big,
yeah.
And like, I don't even think you can call it selling out because they were making smash albums,
right? They could
making a shitload of money, and were well respected. And then all of a sudden, it was just like Adam Levine taking over and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna make the most obnoxious pop songs, and somehow still fucking like he's, God bless him, he's made a shitload of money and is a huge star. But the music, for the most part, sucks.
He makes bad pop music so bad that I can promise you thundering will never be a thing with a Maroon 5 song. Like, it's so eye-roll worthy that I don't think you or I will ever find it funny enough.
Right, we would never want to support it in that way. We'd be like every time there are Maroon 5 songs where I have been like, or post Maroon 5 Adam Levine songs where I'm like, I fucking hate that this is catchy and I kind of like it. That the one I think it was like called like Sugar or something. That one was really good.
Dr. Luke.
Was that a Dr. Luke production?
Was.
That was a really good song. I will admit that I liked that song. But yeah, for the most part, I just like don't even want to give Adam Levine the goddamn satisfaction because I'm still pissed that he ruined Maroon 5.
It's like if.
And I think this
is going to sound like a douchey take. It's like someone you knew, someone you dated, or something, someone you loved, or someone you got really close with, and didn't work out, but it was great. They were great, and then years later, they're still hot shit, but they're tanning too much. They're doing shit that they weren't doing before. And it's not necessarily wrong shit. It's not necessarily shit that you judge or look down
this
upon.
Isn't you.
But you're like, that's not what I knew you for.
Yeah.
Like, you just fucking changed.
Right,
and I'm not mad at the person you are now. I'm disappointed
because I liked the other person.
Yeah. I just want to know that other person's still in there.
That is like the classic, fame Hollywood story where it's like they just fucking changed, man.
Yeah,
they just kind of lost their soul.
And
a little
if they
bit.
were that way all the time, I mean, I think they're a Cali band, so like for them to be like big like sunglass wearers, I don't know if that's like a stereotype that you get famous, you wear a lot of sunglasses, but I could see those guys wearing sunglasses all the fucking time.
Well, I think that Maroon 5's always been.
Can we start saying
douchey.
that about people? That guy wears sunglasses.
Yeah, and just like not clarify.
Yeah, just like that. But
sunglass wear, real sunglass wear.
Get that. Hey, pal, wear your sunglasses. Yeah. Just fucking take out your sunglasses. We all know you have sunglasses.
Yeah, I think Adam Levine.
How many sunglasses you have?
How many?
Yeah,
probably like five pairs of sunglasses.
I have like 3.
Yeah, 5's probably too many. But
are they good sunglasses?
Yeah, like they're not necessarily like expensive sunglasses. But they're good sunglasses.
Today's episode, by the way, brought to you by
sunglasses.
Knockarounds. I meant to do Knockarounds should sponsor us because they're good cheap sunglasses. So
also Dang.
Dang.
They make pretty like cheap knockaround sunglasses and they're polarized.
I thought that Dang. So does Knockarounds, please.
Ooh, okay.
What we should get in an ad read argument. Where I'm pushing Knockaround, you're pushing Dang.
We should have ad read gauntlets.
Yes.
Where we just fucking
be like, it's only
$20 brands.
Only $20 to sponsor this episode because you're kind of going to be in like an 8-way tie.
Right, we're letting the listeners choose.
Yes. We should have a full episode debating what it's brought to us by. Yes, what the episode is brought to us by.
Don't hate that idea. I kind of want to scrap this episode and just do that.
No, we honestly should. We'll talk to Nick and be like, hey, wrangle up like 10 to 12 sponsors. Don't charge them much because we might not be too good to them.
We're not going to be selling much for them.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to turn into a game.
One last Adam Levine point. The thing that I think pisses me the most off about Adam Levine is that he has still kept the Maroon 5 name for some ungodly reason.
Yeah.
Like, Adam Levine is probably a bigger... Like, he could get away with just being Adam Levine and, like, it would still
So
draw.
you're upset that he's making sure his friends still get paid?
I guess once you put it that way, but I don't like the fact that he's like watering down the Maroon 5 brand.
Yeah.
Like when I say like, I mean, like I could still say like I love Maroon 5, but now that gets associated with the new shit rather than the old shit. Now I have to be like, I love what Maroon 5 used to be.
What's weirder to me is Panic at the Disco, because Panic at the Disco
The exclamation point?
Now it's just Brendan Urie now, but it was, I think there were 4 people in the band, and the guitar player wrote all the songs. And after 2 albums, after Pretty Odd, which is again elite, the guitar player and somebody else left the band. The guitar player and the bassist, I want to say, left the band. So then it was just Brendan Urie and the drummer. And they kept going with the name Panic at the Disco with Brendan Urie writing the songs. Yep. Then the drummer left. And the band became just Brendan Urie. And for like 3 albums now, it's just a one-man project. And it's called Panic at the Disco, but it's... like what they are now, it's obviously similar because it's still the same voice, still the same singer, but like those songs, like that was that dude's writing, it's not that it should have a different name. IMO.
It sounds like a real Smashing Pumpkins situation. Like Billy Corgan? Billy Corgan like has refused to let go of the name of the Smashing Pumpkins name, despite like a million band changeovers.
I think that,
and like he was releasing stuff by himself under Smashing Pumpkins name. Like that to me is really sad.
Yeah, it's
like a star high school athlete who like still brags about his like athletic accomplishments to people at a bar, like anybody that'll listen. You know what?
Everyone mocks those people, but if either of us had athletic accomplishments,
we'd be talking about them.
I think I'd talk about them. Yeah, for sure.
But like, I think I would talk about them in the sense like I realize it's not that cool at this point.
Well, that's how I talk about everything,
right? But like, he's there. It's too much hanging on, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was ever good at something, I'd hang on.